We opened the Quay Climbing Center in September 2011. My husband and I had spent most of our career working in finance in London, in the US and in the Channel Islands. We'd relocated back to North Devon to raise our small family and weren't really sure what we were going to do as our next business or next step in life. An opportunity arose to invest in a small climbing wall based in North Devon, and that didn't really work out for us, but it piqued an interest. We'd both climbed in big cities and we'd seen the evolution of climbing walls in London and New York, which were not just built by climbers for climbers, but were built to welcome a wider population to the sport. Neither of us are great climbers, but we love going to climbing gyms. And that started a journey that led us to the Quay. We met our third investor who'd discovered this amazing building. And the thing about the southwest of the UK is there really aren't any tall industrial buildings. So this building is an utter gem. It was the former electricity building that housed the turbine engines for Exeter's tram system, which shut down back in sort of the early 1900s. And the building was largely derelict when we came across it. But it's got phenomenal height. This kind of height just doesn't exist in the southwest. So we took on the building, we worked with the council, and we opened the climbing gym about 6.5 months later. The goal was always to open something that would replicate the kind of walls we'd climbed in bigger cities. So something that was modern, something that had tall lead climbing, roped climbing, but could also introduce non-climbers to the sport, as well as people in the southwest that already climbed and were frankly pretty desperate for a big training centre. There's lots of amazing small local gyms here, but in 2011, west of Bristol, there really wasn't a large climbing centre, so there was a massive opportunity in the market for us. When we started the project, we really quickly identified that EP Climbing were the right wall designer to work with. They could realise the vision we had for the kind of modern professional wall that we wanted, and also the speed of the project. We wanted to get the centre up and running pretty quickly. As we were working on the design, we were really clear that we wanted to be a top rope and lead centre. That was what was missing in the southwest. And the building is perfect for that. We couldn't quite figure out how we would use the whole building. We didn't want to have an entire centre of top rope and lead, but it wasn't quite big enough to realise some of the bouldering centre vision we had. Coincidentally, at the time, EP had identified a new line of climbing that was really popular in New Zealand called clip and climb, what we would call fun climbing now. And they really wanted to bring that concept back to the UK, but they were looking for a centre to trial it. So after much discussion, it seemed like that was the perfect thing to put in this centre. We had the height, we had enough space to make it meaningful, and it really aligned with our vision to create a climbing wall that could reach out to new climbers and offer something that perhaps would enable someone to come in the centre, try climbing, who'd never thought or identified themselves as being a climber before. So the concept of using auto belays, fun, bright elements, really democratises climbing. Over the years since we've engaged in this product, and we've had lots of conversations with people in the industry, and certainly in the early years, I think people questioned, why would you put something that is so bright, so low barrier to entry in a climbing wall? It didn't seem a good fit for climbers necessarily, and a really different audience. But from our perspective, with our business background, we were really clear that we wanted to make sure that the climbing side of the business could be profitable, but could also be funded so we could do the things we wanted to do, particularly on the lead wall with hold purchases, route setting, and fund that, recognising that climbing can be quite cyclical. So there are certainly times of the year when we identified that climbers would rather be outside training, and we wanted to create an income stream that would balance that. Clip and Climb proved to us to be the perfect solution for that. There's an alignment there. In the summer holidays, at the weekends, people come in, they want something to do with their children. Exeter as a city didn't actually have a lot of indoor adventure activity opportunities at the time we opened. So there's a really good financial balance there that means that we can support both businesses really effectively. It's possible to build that kind of business model because we've got the space that enables it. So Clip and Climb here has got 25 plus elements at all times. They're all of a reasonable height. So for us, it can be a self-sustaining business on its own, and the climbing wall can be a self-sustaining business on its own. They share a space, but they both operate as independent revenue generators, for want of a better word. And I think that's quite important in how we see it in our business model. And with the opening of Boulder X in the last year, we've really been able to make sure that we've built something that offers climbing to everyone, which is our mission. Sometimes people say, what would be next? There's certainly a lot of consolidation in the industry. There's lots of businesses that are opening multiple centres. For us, the opening of Boulder X realised our what would be next vision. We always wanted to make sure that we could offer in the southwest, in Exeter, to our communities of climbers, national level lead climbing, national level bouldering, and a really positive fun climbing experience. We've known since we opened the Quay that we certainly don't have sufficient opportunities in this building to develop that on the bouldering side. But now if you're a climber, or you're a family, or you're someone who doesn't know they're a climber, in this part of Devon, there's an opportunity to try all three and to try as an entry level, but also to train at the highest levels possible. So I've been asked to describe EP in 3 words. If you ask some of the team, they'd probably say great free t-shirts. But from my perspective, I think I'd pick professional, quality and collaborative. And the reason for those choices is really, professional is really important to us. Our vision was to create something in the southwest that could compete and look like some of the walls we'd seen in bigger cities. And we really needed to work with a wall designer that had that professional approach and was building a product that was designed to last, which really brings me on to quality. An EP wall will last, and looking around this centre, I feel as an owner it's aged phenomenally well. And I look at Boulder X, and the collaboration and the work that we did with the team there has meant that we walk around the wall and we don't look at it wishing we'd done something differently. It's really designed to meet the needs of the brief that our route setters and our climbing experts, who are definitely not me, that brief was realised through working in such a collaborative way with a professional wall designer. So I think the climbing industry is at a really interesting point right now. Climbing is exploding in some ways with the introduction of the climbing as an Olympic sport, the opportunity for climbing to reach a wider audience and to keep growing exponentially is there. But it's a pretty tough time for wall owners. The economies are challenging, cost of living is difficult, and you have to really think carefully about what you're doing as a business. And for us, the single most important thing is to create communities of climbers where people feel loyal to us as a brand, they have an amazing experience, when new people feel that the barriers to entry to get into this sport are low, and having walls that are modern, that they're fresh, that we keep reinvesting in, where we've worked with a wall designer that is producing a product of exceptionally high quality. That is part of a really conscious plan to enable us to feel we've got a wall that will take us into the future.